I've been drawn to sound since I was a child. I remember listening to the radio, trying to pick out each instrument. But what really fascinated me were strange, elusive sounds that seemed out of this world. An ordinary piano would suddenly transform into an entire orchestra, and a guitar could mimic the sounds of a forest. It was like magic that ignited my imagination. There was always music in my home. It was always full of it, mainly thanks to my dad, who never spared any expense on it. My sister and I had rooms filled with cassette tapes, and each of us had our own cassette player. There was always a record player and a lot of records at home too. But those weren't the sounds that ignited a real passion in me. It was electronics that made me feel like this was it. My first encounter with synthesizers was like a bolt from the blue. I was a teenager when a cassette tape called Magnetic Fields by Jean-Michel Jarre fell into my hands. His music, full of space and synthetic melodies, completely absorbed me. It was something completely different. I started to dig into how he did it. I discovered that behind it all were synthesizers, instruments that allow you to create music from scratch, to play with sound waves and shape them your own way. It was like opening the door to Narnia, except instead of a lion and a witch, an enchanted infinite world of sounds awaited me. In my musical explorations, I came across giants like Vangelis, Kraftwerk and Tangerine Dream. Their innovative approach to composing, experiments with sound and technology, and above all, the ability to create unique electronic worlds had a huge impact on me. Vangelis showed me that electronic music can be monumental like Chariots of Fire, yet delicate and emotional like Ask the Mountains. Kraftwerk inspired me to seek minimalism and simplicity, to discover beauty in the repetition of successive sequences. Jarre, on the contrary, sought diversity in every repetition of a phrase, diversity in every note of the arpeggio. Tangerine Dream opened up musical soundscapes, dreamlike and mysterious, like mountains in the fog. My first electronic instrument was a Yamaha PSR keyboard. I still have it today. My dad bought it for me when I was in my second year of high school. From today's perspective, it was a toy, but it had a lot of sounds, rhythms, and a simple sequencer. I recorded my first songs on this instrument using a cassette recorder connected to it. The cassette with them is hidden away somewhere. I'm a bit embarrassed by it. The next instrument was the Technics KX, which I also still have today. A much more advanced arranger. At this stage, due to work and many of life's bumps in the road, I stopped for a longer time. Everything exploded again 4 years ago. I bought an advanced Yamaha PSR SX arranger that I had always dreamed of, but something was still missing, and that longing is currently being intensely treated. The cure, of course, turned out to be synthesizers, the kind I couldn't afford back then. The first synthesizer I bought was as simple as the construction of a flail, but to me, it was a treasure like it was for Gollum. I would spend whole days with it, combining sounds, trying to imitate my idols, and above all, creating my own music. Electronics opened up new possibilities for me. I could freely experiment with melody, harmony, rhythm, but above all with the color of the sound. Synthesizers allowed me to break free from the limitations of traditional instruments and create sounds I had never dreamed of before, like having pierogi for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love electronic music because it connects with my other great passion, computers and computer science. Synthesizers and electronic sounds have something of programming in them. I feel like a digital alchemist with the ability to shape sound using algorithms, to create your own waveforms and effects. It starts innocently, with simple lines of code, that eventually evolve into complex soundscapes. It's like building a digital castle out of Lego bricks. Each sound is a brick, and the code becomes a tool in my hands. I'm fascinated by how these two fields, music and computer science, intertwine and inspire each other. Thanks to technology, I can create sounds that previously only existed in my head. It's like having access to an infinite library of sounds to discover and compose. That's why electronic music is more than just sounds to me. It's a way to combine my passions into one amazing creative experience. Electronics opens up an endless horizon of creativity and innovation. In the world of electronic music, there are no limits. We are only limited by our own imagination. We can delve into sounds that were once unthinkable, creating something completely new and unique. The continuous development of technology gives us tools that allow us to turn ideas into reality. From samples through sequencers to advanced sound synthesis programs, the possibilities are endless. Electronics also allows us to blend musical genres, combining elements that at first glance might seem impossible to reconcile. It's like a journey to unknown galaxies, where every sound is a new star worth discovering. For me, electronic music is not only a way to express myself, but above all, a path to discovering new worlds of sound. It's an endless space, where I can freely create and play with sound, constantly searching for inspiration. Electronics gives me freedom that I won't find in any other genre. It's my own little piece of the universe, where I can be completely myself, where I can realize any vision, even the craziest one. And that's what's so fascinating and inspiring about electronic music. The future of electronics holds a multitude of possibilities, and I can't wait to continue exploring and creating in it. Thank you for watching this video, in which I wanted to share my fascination with electronic music and synthesizers. In future videos, I will present my musical creations and the sources of my inspirations, which go beyond traditional electronic music. I will tell you interesting stories about the music and musicians who inspire me. I will show you my software and instruments, explain how I use them, and why they are so fascinating to me. I will take you on a virtual tour of my studio and introduce you to the people who share my passion. I will try to make it interesting. You will judge for yourselves how well I succeed. If you are curious, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment.